We've got some great news.
Great new rates on new
and used car loans.
New car loans as low as 1.99%. Used car loans as low as 2.49%.
I save money.
And that's not all. We refinance trucks and RVs.
Refinance your car and save.
Refinance at Columbia Green Federal Credit Union.
And save on your payments.
You will save.
Save now.
And save money. The Coxsackie and Hudson Lending Centers.
All right, welcome back to the Hudson Valley 360 Gridiron Glance show presented by the Columbia Green Federal Credit Union. We're in Week 10 now. We just finished out the season last week with Chatham was the last team playing, and Chatham ended up going down in the semifinals.
They did. I was at that game up at Bishop Gibbons High School up in Schenectady. I was surprised, to be honest with you. Not so much that Holy Trinity won that game, but in the manner that it did. Right. It was 44-0, and they took it to Chatham right from the start. I think Chatham might have been a little shell-shocked. I mean, how well Holy Trinity came out and played, but by no means does this diminish the kind of season the Panthers had under Coach Rich Sitzer and his great staff. They finished 6-3 overall, right. And they have a lot to look forward to as well. They do lose some key elements from this team this year, but they have some good kids coming back and a good coaching staff and good kids coming up from the lower levels. Chatham's going to be around for a while, but yeah, this game it started out. It was a beautiful day up at Schenectady and Bishop Gibbons High School. Chatham got the ball first. They had a 4th and inches situation, and to my surprise, they went for it. They got the first down, and I'm thinking, here we go. Chatham, showing their moxie there by going for it deep in their own territory on 4th and inches. They get it, but that's one of the few good circumstances that day for the Panthers. After which, it was all Holy Trinity. They have a great passing attack. Joe Tortello, just a sophomore. He's not a tall kid. He's about 5'5", but man, he can sling it. Got some really good receivers there. Nasir Hundley, his leading receiver, during the season only had 2 catches, but a couple other kids, Jordan Metler, had a great game. Noah Foster had a great game. They also have a great kicker who played a key role in this game. Not only did he nail every extra point, but he kept Chatham pinned deep in their own territory throughout the game, because after every touchdown, more often than not, his kickoffs would result in a touchback. So Chatham would start deep in their own territory at the 20-yard line. So it's just one of them games. But let me tell you, again, Chatham's got a lot to look forward to.
They do, and one of their main pieces coming back is Caleb Taylor, who had a really good season. He seemed to come on, especially in some of the bigger games down the stretch. He threw on 6 for 6, I think, in the first round of the playoffs. He just played really well. They have some other guys coming back in the backfield, on the line. So they're definitely a team that we should look forward to going back to the playoffs next year.
No question. And like you say, Caleb is a true dual threat. Not only can he sling it, he can also run with the ball, and he's a leader out there, like kind of a field general out there, as you want for your quarterback. And he's going to be back next year as a senior, and look for big things. He might be one of the best quarterbacks in our area for sure next year.
Definitely. And then we also have Hudson, who was the only other team to make the postseason this year. They went out a bit early, ended the season 5-4 with a win over Green Tech, which was a pretty good game. Got called a little bit early because of some extracurricular activities going on in the field. But overall, Hudson didn't have the season that they thought they would, but they also didn't have a terrible season.
Not at all. They finished 5-4. So this game, a lot of people look at it like it's an by the way type of game. In that, what does it mean? It's not a playoff game. They got it knocked out of the playoffs the week before, losing to Hudson Falls on their home field. But this game doesn't mean a lot. This type of game, because it gives you the 500 record, and it's an opportunity for some of the younger kids to get in there and play, and for the seniors to go out on a winning note in front of the home fans. It was a cold night this past Thursday. Cold wind was blowing. It was chilly. It was one of those games where I don't know, the fans didn't come out in full force for that game because, again, a crossover game. A lot of the fans don't look at it like it's anything but what it is, a crossover game. It doesn't mean anything in the standings.
It was on a Thursday night.
Exactly. And Hudson took it to them. They had to play without Willie Walker, who hurt his hand, sprained it in the Hudson Falls game. So Zach Wilburn picked up the slack, rushed for an even 100 yards to give him close to 800 for the season, and had a great senior season, did Zach. A real good season. But Hudson led 21-0 at halftime. They were up 28-0 in the second half. They were driving for another touchdown, and things were getting kind of chippy. Green Tech was getting a little aggravated in the fact that they were losing. Then they would have finished 2-7, and some pushing and shoving began. And next thing you know, the officials just waved it off with 4:49 to go in the game. Said, "Okay, game over. Hudson wins 28-0, and the Hawks finish 5-4." Like Chatham, they do lose some very key players and seniors. Mason Goldstein, you've got Zach Wilburn, Willie Walker, of course, and Zion Brown, their top linemen. But like Chatham, as we mentioned, they have some good kids coming back. Some kids that played on a very, very good JV team 2 years ago, and some good kids from this season's JV team. So Hudson, again, is one of those teams that even when they lose a lot, they got a lot coming back, and you can't count them out. They should have a good season next year as well, I would think.
And just a few guys that are coming back. We have their quarterback, Gridiron, he'll be back. We have Corey Topple, Tyler Blue, Jack Moon. Quite a few guys that played integral parts this season that had good games are coming back. Spencer Goldstein will be back. So, Hudson is definitely a team to look forward to next year as well, is Chatham. Good
kids coming back, too, up from the JV team, Zion Clanton and Josh Wallace, two really good athletes who will make the mark on the varsity level as well.
Yep. And then this past week, we also had the Taconic Hills getting their second win of the season, beating Cahoe's team. Taconic Hills ended up 2-7 this year. They have a lot to look forward to. I really like Taconic Hills next year. I think that they're going to might be playoff bound. You never know, but they definitely can improve on the 2-7 season that they had this year.
No question. I had a chance to see that game as well, which was last Wednesday, which again threw my week off. I mean, it's a game on Wednesday, a game on Thursday, and there were no games on Friday. I'm so used to Friday games, and here we had games on Wednesday and Thursday. But be that as it may, the Titans defeated Cahoes. It was 24-0. Shane Bradway, who has completed his third year on the varsity level, he's just a sophomore, came up as an eighth grader, as we all know, had a big game, rushed for over 180 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's a kid that is good right now, but you're going to get a lot more about him in the future on both sides of the ball. He's a beast on defense. Offensively, he showed what he can do the last part of the season when he was healthy. Had a couple of big games over 170 yards, and I think, like I say, you'll hear a lot about him in the future. What's good about Taconic Hills, like I say, they do lose their senior quarterback, Brandon Pruser, who's been on the varsity, I believe, 3 years himself, but everybody else is back, including Bradway. You've got Caleb Miller, you've got Dusty Snyder. That's a really, really good start. What I also like about this team is, though they lose Brody Rothvoss, their big lineman, two-way lineman, they do have some good kids coming back. The Metz kid, the Smith kid, Josh Hemmings. These are freshmen, and they're playing key roles already on the varsity. So while they may have taken their lumps this year in terms of wins and losses, I think in the future this is going to pay off for them. The experience they gained this year. And I really like Mark Anderson. He's a Mike Bowman disciple, and we love Bowman. You know that. And Mark did a real good job keeping this team together this year and building for the future. Again, you just cannot judge success by wins and losses. We've said that a million times, but it's the truth. This team showed flashes of what it could be in the future this year, and I think that's in part to Coach Anderson and his staff holding this team together, even when the going got a little tough, when they were losing some of these games and some close games as well during the season. So looking forward to see what Taconic Hills can do in the future.
Yeah, hopefully they can find a quarterback that can come in, because they do have some receiving guys. Tyreek Robinson is one of them.
Tyreek had a good year too.
He had a good year. He was catching some balls. So hopefully they find somebody there that they can plug in and complement Bradway, Snyder, Caleb Miller.
Open up that running game, throwing the ball for sure.
So that's definitely a team that we can look for next year to progress a little bit. At least get a couple more wins. I think 3-4 wins is definitely easy. Not easy, but they can something that they can accomplish.
They definitely can keep on building for the future, because again, when you've got freshmen leading the way this year on the line, I mean, they're going to be around for a while, so they're going to keep on learning, keep on building, and improving and getting better.
Yeah, I think so. Now, Coxsackie Athens ended up 2-7. They fell again this past weekend to end their season. They lost to Helderberg Valley. Again, it's a bit of a team that can put points up at will. And just had a little bit of trouble stopping the other teams.
Absolutely. And Helderberg Valley now, and a lot of people are probably thinking, Helderberg Valley, what's that? Is that a high school somewhere? I mean, I'm trying to remember the two teams. Let's see, it's Dwaynesburg.
Schoharie?
Wait, I think Burnox Western. Either way, it's Helderberg Valley. It's a combination of a couple of schools. And they had a decent season. They finished 4-4. And they
Right.
put up 47 on the Indians this past week, beating them, I believe it was 47-21.
Right.
But again, you can't take away from what Patty Bailey, our guy Patty Bailey, accomplished this year. I know 2-7. You're thinking, what is that?
Right.
They I mean, think about it. Patty came in as the head coach, 24 years old. Maybe a week, before the season began, had to get to know these kids. They had to get to know him, install a new offensive system, defensive system. Everybody's new, everybody's getting acquainted and everything. Right. A lot of moving parts. And here he comes in, and not only did he get 2 victories in his first year as a head coach anywhere, I mean, the offense went bananas this year. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got kids. I had to write this down. I mean, I couldn't even memorize all the good numbers these kids put up this year. Senior quarterback Mike Constantino, one of the team captains,
right.
109 completions, 198 attempts, almost 1,800 yards passing. Right, that's hard anywhere. But in a 9-game high school football season, 1,754 yards to be exact, 18 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. That's really
phenomenal.
Good.
His yardage was second in Section 2.
Second in Section 2.
His touchdowns was in the top 5 in Section 2.
Absolutely.
You also have Justice Madaw, who had a great year.
Justice, I mean, you talk about another team captain here. I mean, he went nuts this year, okay? 35 receptions, 833 yards, 11 touchdowns, and that's not all. Also had 485 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns. I mean, that's a lot of offense right there.
Absolutely.
Under a new coach, hey.
Yeah, nothing bad to say about Coxsackie. I mean, their wins, they definitely could have put up a couple more wins, but they were scoring 20, 30 points a game.
The defense is what
right.
kind of broke down a few times this year. They gave up quite a few points, and like I say, you score 21 points, you score 27 points, 28 points. You expect to win those games, but the defense wasn't as tight as they would have liked it to be this year. But again, with some new kids, a new system, and moving parts, those things can happen.
Yeah, nothing to hang your head about this year.
No, not at all.
Now, the bad part about Coxsackie is they do lose both guys that we just spoke about, Constantino and Madaw. They lose Blowers, they lose Baxter,
who had 35 catches himself this year.
Right.
I mean, so
offensively, they're taking a bit of a hit on those guys. But they always seem to have a lot of guys coming back. They're going to be just as good. Tim Simmons, wide receiver.
He'll be back.
Yeah.
Martinez, big lineman, who's been on the varsity like 3 years. I mean, so they do have some linemen back. That's the end. Joe Noda Bartolo's back. I mean, so they have some kids coming back as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do in Patty's second year. But now that they've become acquainted with one another, they know each other's system, and he knows them, they know him. We'll see what happens.
Right, definitely. Now, just a reminder, we are brought to you by Columbia Green Federal Credit Union, and the next team that we want to talk a little bit about is Ichabod Crane, which won 1-8 this year, but really they could have won 4 games. They lost by 3 to Fort Edward this week. They lost by 2 to Ravenna a couple weeks ago. They lost by 7 to Lansingburg. Those are 3 games that could have easily went the other way.
No question.
And they could be 4-4 right now.
And even in some of the losses, they played well. They showed, again, flashes of brilliance. They have a good young team, a lot of kids. Like I said, similar to what Connor Kills is going through now. A lot of kids from last year and also this year, underclassmen, freshmen, sophomores, that come up. They might not be quite ready for varsity play yet, but they have to play. Right. They don't come and sit the bench or watch from the sidelines. I mean, they're out there playing. So while they take their lumps now, this is only going to benefit them in the future. And some of these kids, as young as they are contributing already. We mentioned Toby Zuko had a big game again against Fort Edward this past week.
Yards.
Absolutely, he had 200 yards the week before.
Right.
And I mean, of course, Austin Walsh, one of my favorite young quarterbacks out there. This kid is a tough kid, can throw the ball, can really sling it. I like the way he stands in the pocket as well, and stands back there and surveys the situation and can get rid of it before the rush comes to get him. But and the rush was coming to get him a few times during the season. I mean, he was under a lot of pressure when he was in there. Hayden Brockman, I mean, the tight end, again, another kid who's a beast. I mean, this is a big kid who's going to be back next year and presents a great target. So Donovan Brown in the backfield. I mean, you've got kids that can definitely play the game of football, and they're learning as they go. They're learning from these losses, and they're going to put that to good use in the future. So again, I see Ichabod Crane, another team that while you look at the record now, wasn't impressive. I think in the future, again, you're not going to go maybe from 1 win to 10 wins next year, but
Right.
I definitely see some improvement coming for that program as well.
Definitely, they could be the very early pick for most improved team next year.
No
but
question
you also
about
have to
it.
fight with kind of kills for that.
Yep, the
So-
two teams that took
Yeah.
the lumps this year, but for the good of the cause, they're going to be better.
Absolutely. And last we have Cara Durham, which overall has been a bit tough
It's tough
to going 0-8. You just hope that in this situation that the kids can just keep their heads up, stick with it, come back next year, and keep playing. I mean, you're going to have those years. Everybody has those years. Cara Durham just had a couple of them, but I think next year, hopefully the guys just stay in there. They're a young group, can get a couple wins next year. They were putting points on the
They
board.
were.
They
They
could
were.
have possibly pulled out a couple games, and next year I think they could definitely get that win, get the monkey off their
Absolutely.
back a bit.
They have the longest losing streak in the state right now.
They do.
But let me tell you something. Again, we're local guys. We're all about the local situation, the local scene, the local teams. We're not here to bash any program, especially young kids when they're out there working hard and trying
Right.
to do their best. And that's what Cara Durham is doing. We're not here to shill for them either. I mean, we're telling it like it is.
They were 0-8.
Exactly. And the truth is, they did show improvement.
Right.
I know you might say, "Oh yeah, here we go again with the improvement." They have. I mean, we've seen them in the past. They've struggled. This year, okay, 0-8 is struggling, but still they showed improvement. They
Right.
scored. They showed up for every game. They didn't back away from anybody. And again, you have to take the small steps for the long journey.
You do.
And they took their steps again this year. Next year, hopefully, all those kids come back and some new kids coming in and mixing with the talent and get coached up. Hopefully, they will maybe win that 1 win.
Right.
Get that 1 win, get that monkey off the back, and then just
Get
continue to
started,
progress.
just like Ichabod Crane.
Yeah, you gotta start
Keep the
somewhere.
kind of kills are all going in the right direction.
No question, you have to start somewhere, and from the ground floor up, they can build.
That's it. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming and joining us for the season. Next week we're going to get into a little bit of basketball. Basketball
question.
season is right around the corner.
Oh, can I say something before we go? I want to thank Jada Kitson, who was doing all the behind-the-scenes work for us. Running the
Right.
camera, chopping up everything, and did a great job this year. And she makes us look good, if that's even possible. but she did a great job, and we appreciate that. I want to give her a shout out for that.
Absolutely. All right. And again, we're presented by Columbia Green Federal Credit Union. Thank you.